So, for those of you with good memories, you may remember maybe episode 1 of this, whatever I'm doing, where I cut a hole in the roof to put the, I think it might have been the second one actually, but to put a hole in the roof for the air vent. And we were in the garage. Remember the garage? Well, we're back in the garage because today I'm making the kitchen unit, if that's what you're going to call it, or I'm going to call it. First job is drilling a hole. I didn't know, I know how to do it. I've got a lot of wood here, you can see I've bought. This is nice. I've got quite thick stuff. That's going to be the frame, the carcass of it. And I'm going to use a lot of the offcuts, which I've got here, loads of it, of the 4x2 on the sides, and some of this stuff, offcuts of that, for the doors, so nothing wasted. I've got an old top, kitchen sort of top that was from my parents' house. It was lying around in there when I cleared out, my father passed away last year, when I cleared out the rubbish from his sort of officey area. There was a bit of work surface that undoubtedly he had plans for, but had probably been there for 30 years. So that's what I'm going to use. Because space is at a premium, I'm going to do the work surface, fit everything on there first, the sink and the cooker, and then cut that back as far as I can, which will then allow me to determine the size of the carcass. So I'm sort of doing it in reverse order. Let me show you what I've done. Okay, so there is the sink. I bought it, I think I showed it the other day briefly. I bought it from IKEA. It's just one of their sort of standard round sinks. Cost £35 with all the gubbins underneath, the waste underneath. The reason I went there, again, I think I previously mentioned it, was that their waste pipes are flexible, which will give me a bit more give when I'm aiming it into the waste thing underneath. The first thing you've got to do is cut a hole. This is my top, and I've cut the hole. So I want to cut that and then try and fit the cooker, which I've measured it, so that will just about fit in there. It's going to be tight, but it allows me to cut back now. I know how much I've got at the back here, so I can probably cut maybe 2 inches off, strip along the back there, which will just give me a little more space to get in and out of the van with. So that's the first thing. I don't know whether the sink fits in there or not. I'll tell you what, as you're here, I'll let you be party to this. I'll try and prop the phone up and you can have a watch at my disappointment. Right, there you go. I'll prop the phone up for a second. So this should, say in theory, I mean, it might need a bit of tweaking, but it should fit in there almost perfectly. And it does. Unbelievable. I'm proper chuffed with myself. Job 1 done. Upward and onward. So I've just took off 2 inches, which is that strip there at the back, obviously making the unit a little bit narrower. The idea of that is that it'll give a little bit more space. The sliding door is going to be at the far end here, so when we slide open, we just got a bit more space here to walk in. So that should be okay. Having done that first, the hole first, I've obviously allowed me to ensure that it all comes together. So one of the concerns I had, or I didn't really know what I was doing, you might remember me saying, was about the door and how to deal with the door. And I now have come up with a plan. So as you can see, I've stuck some insulation on there. It's not a lot. I folded over twice, so I've got some insulation on there. I've cut, I haven't got it here actually, I've left it in the house, my wife's working on it. I've cut a piece of hardboard that size, which I've put another sheet of insulation on, and she's going to put some fabric on that, some Velcro, and we're going to stick it on there, and hopefully it will be okay. Aesthetically it should look pretty nice, yeah, that's the plan for that. Hopefully that'll work. My only slight concern is securing it, but I think the Velcro should do it, should be fine. Down below here I'm going to have to pick the phone up to show you. I went and got a piece of hardboard that I've cut to size. It's a bit fiddly around the locks here, but I've cut it to size. That is 6mm hardboard. I had some of the 12mm that I'd used on the flooring, the plywood left. I did try it with a piece of that, but it was too thick. When I opened the door, it caught on the sort of opening mechanism. So I went down the local timber merchants. That was an offcut. The bloke cut it to size for me, and I gave him £2 something for their tea fund. So it was a good purchase. I've cut that, obviously cut it out there, so it operates fine. I'm now going to take that off. Same story as above really. My wife's going to stick some fabric on to make it look pretty. I'm going to insulate it behind, and yeah, that's job done then, door finished. So that sort of hopefully solves the problem. This bit is sort of the relatively easy bit in that it will fix okay because it's screwed on. So we'll see. We'll do the bump test again and see what happens on that one. Okay, so I'm just going to give you an idea of how I'm building the kitchen sort of sink unit frame, if you like. So as you can see, I've got basically a square. I'm going to make another one of those and then just connect them at the top there. Very simple. 2 screws in the top, and it's exactly the same in each corner into the wood. So that'll be the back. So that effectively will lean against the piece of wood that that we painted yellow, that goes against the cab, if you like. So that'll be the back of the sink unit. I'm going to make another one of those now. Okay, I'm not going to lie, it doesn't look fantastic at the moment, but the carcass is well, I was going to say in, it's not in because that's just loose. I've not fastened that to that back wall yet, but it's in place. Next job will be to fasten that to the wall. I'm just going to work out the distance on the right hand side as we're looking at it. I'm going to put some shelves in there, some little drawers, which I'll show you shortly. So just need to make sure I've got the right distance there, so that's all correct. So yeah, but otherwise, at least it's in. So things aren't finished. I'm packing up now for the day. We're off out tonight to the cinema. So, but we're getting there. I need a few more screws. The ones I got weren't long enough just to fully secure the unit to that back wall. This is not secured on at the moment, but things are getting on. So I put the sink in, put the tap on there, as you can see. Oh, you can see now. Glares a bit, doesn't it? Put the tap on. The rest of the unit underneath so far, not done. Just needs tightening up. And I've also, let me turn the camera. I've also put these drawers in. You can see these are, some of you may recognise them. They're IKEA special. So I just ran some beading, if that's the right word, along here, and allows me to put them in there. There's a bit of a hole here. I'm gonna fill that hole up just because it doesn't look very good. But yes, put those on. and the sink's in, and it looks quite good. And there's plenty of room. One of the things I was concerned about was the space getting in and out of the van. There's plenty of room to get in and out of the van, it's not a problem. So it's Sunday afternoon, and I have managed to finish the kitchen area. So I'm going to show you what I've done, talk you through what I've done, and I think it looks pretty good. So everything's complete now. The frame there, the unit if you like, is done. There's nothing across the front, obviously, as you can see. That's because we're going to have a curtain there. We ummed and ahed about doors and what to do, but then if you've got doors, you're going to have to open them into the area here. So we decided we're just going to have a sort of curtain there, and that'll look nice. We'll add a little bit of colour, so that's what we're going to do. The sink is in, the waste's in, all works, and the pump's in. That's the pump line on the floor there. I'll show you that in a moment. Gas bottle's in. That green strap you can see there, and there's one around the bottle. I'm not sure whether you can see it clearly here. That's fed through the back, and that just secure, or securing the gas bottle so it doesn't go anywhere. Once I get the water, the two clean and dirty water containers, then that will secure those in place. Hopefully, that's the theory. Yeah, that's it really. As far as the let me move a bit closer so you can see what's going on. As far as the cooker goes, that works okay. I've just tested it. I've fed this through here. I didn't know what to do and how to manage that, but it doesn't look too bad. So as we shut it, that just goes back down. Down underneath it here, I'll just lift it slightly to show you. Give me a second. I'll lock it for a second. If you lift it, I've put three. I'm not sure you can see that or not. I've put 3 pieces of wood there to hold the feet, so it doesn't slide anywhere, and it's also going to be held by this as well, so it doesn't, hopefully shouldn't slide anywhere when we're driving. So that's secure in there. As far as the sink goes, that's all in place. Plugging that, actually I'm pleased with this IKEA job, it looks good. The tap works, so the pump's down here. I was a bit unsure about the wiring, and I copied somebody on YouTube actually. But it's very simple. So this is the it's a bit dark. Hang on, let me get a light. Got the light. That's better. Okay, yeah. So this feeds here. So this is the positive and the negative coming from the battery, from the 12-volt battery supply. This white cable here is the pump. Waste is in. Bottles in, so nice and secure. Just drilled some holes to run these cables through. Ran the back here and slide these out. That's the feeder. That, I'm gonna have to say, that is a bit jerry built, a bit dodgy. Well, it's not really. I mean, it works perfectly. Just aesthetically, it's not fantastic, but you won't get to see it. The mistake I made was when I put the electrics in, I hadn't planned down here enough. So I think that's the lesson: is, you know, make sure all your planning is in place. Probably, in retrospect, this cable here should have been longer and gone right into the cab, and then I could have fed it through where I wanted, but I didn't. I fed the other cable in the far corner, if you can see it, right down there, and that is going to be underneath here. When it arrives, I'm going to put a cigarette lighter, 12-volt cigarette lighter connector, and that will be because I'm going to get a fridge, and I'll show you that when it arrives. I'm going to get a fridge that runs just off the 24 volt and off the 240 volt and off the 12 volt, and that's going to sit behind here somewhere. So that, but that's yet to come. So that's it. Otherwise, as far as the kitchen goes, pretty much done. Looks good. Oh, down the side here, I didn't show you. You can see that over the door. Let me open the door and show you. There you go, as you can see, I put in the wood on the side, and it looks nice. Looks professional. Put some around the edge here, finished it off nicely. Got sawdust everywhere, but it looks good. It's firm, it's solid. It's all screwed in and attached to the back wall there. Nothing left to do. I might run a little bit of sealant just along here. That's going to be about as far as I get. Just to show you that the tap does work. As I run it, as I turn it on, you can see, you can hear. That's the pump that's down below. So as soon as I've got my bottles, job's a good one.